Go low.
Oh,
That's your son?
well, we're already late.
We're Jamie and Mike.
He's here because his
Yes, he is.
folder is here. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Paul, did you see Fred out there? Okay.
Come on.
No, I know.
We know Mike's
I
here.
haven't seen Fred yet. He's probably at the baseball game watching his grandson.
We were missing him.
Yeah.
I can't ever read her lips.
Okay.
What she said.
But, oh, yeah. That's what they shirk on.
Oh, no. Okay.
We're good.
Good, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to call to order the agenda-setting meeting of the Woodland Hills Board of School Directors. If we could please call the roll.
David Johnson, Andre Moore,
Here.
Fred Kuhn, Jamie Glasser,
Present.
Jeff Hanchett, Jeff Hildebrand,
Here.
Mike Gallant,
Here.
Robert Masick,
Present.
Tara Reese.
Here, and let me say for the record that Ms. Johnson had a work conflict.
6-3.
Okay, if we could please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind putting one of our own in your prayers, Officer Merle Waller, who is the face you see as soon as you walk into our Woodland Hills Junior Senior High School, was in a pretty bad car accident and is fighting right now. So if you could just add him to your prayers, we'd really appreciate it. And next week we'll vote on accepting the minutes from our agenda and legislative meetings from April. If you have any questions on the minutes, please let Ms. Pule know.
I did make one
Yes, sir.
change. I gave one change. My mic took it down.
Oh, you have it, Mr. Gigliotti? Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Anything else, sir?
Oh, that's the question I asked. I'll make sure people answer the question about any relationship with the AD from anybody, staff, employees. That's why I went on record. So I'm assuming you knew something, you would tell us. So,
Of course.
okay.
That's my job. Why they pay me the big bucks. I apologize for our tardiness. We were in executive session where we discussed personnel and legal issues. Mr. Johnson, do you have any announcements?
Just one, Ms. Reese, the budget workshop that had been scheduled for this yesterday has been rescheduled now till 6 o'clock on May the 30th. That's a Tuesday. There are a lot of conflicts this time of year because there's a lot of end-of-year things go on, and it conflicted with the senior academic awards banquet last night. So we've moved it to May 30th. It'll still be at the high school, still be at 6 p.m., and I hope everybody can make it. Somebody got an announcement.
Anyone else have any announcements? Do you want to talk about
Yeah, I
our
think
Kelly
we should.
nominations?
I
Since you're
I
responsible
think you
for
deserve
it.
that.
I'm responsible for none of it.
Oh,
But I'm pleased to say that the high school's production of Spamalot, which closed on Saturday, was nominated today for 9 Gene Kelly Awards, including Best Scenic Design, Best Costume Design, Best Lighting Design, Musical Direction, Choreography, Best Supporting Actor for Bobby Carr, and Best Musical. So our kids will be performing on stage at the awards on May 27th, which is it's always thrilling, and it is a credit to the program and to the students who worked very, very hard, both on the stage and backstage, to put on a great show. So thank you, everyone, for their support of the production, which was very successful and well received, in addition to being well regarded by the Kelly judges. So thank you.
Tara, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Ms. Glasser, how many years have you been the stage crew director?
I've been involved in production since 2003. This is the 11th show for which I've been the stage manager.
So for those of you that don't know, when our musical productions go off, every spring, Ms. Glasser is one of those folks behind the scene who spends countless hours at our high school helping to put the sets together, mentor countless kids over these years. Countless. She is held in high regard by all the kids. And then Jamie finds time to show up to board meetings.
And have a full-time job.
Thank you for all of that.
Mr. Belmont, you're far too kind, because the work is really done by our students, who are fantastic in every possible way.
Also, clap again.
If I could, on the heels of our wonderful academic honors banquet last night, where a couple dozen students were awarded scholarships, they had a 3.5 or better QPA, just an amazing, stellar group of young men and women. We have some information that was shared with us. We would like to do a little bragging, if you don't mind, from our College Access Department. And I'm going to tell you by borough the percentage of students attending 2- and 4-year colleges by neighborhood. We'll start with Chalfont at 66%, and then we'll go to, let's see, I'm trying to go in order. Swissvale, 84%. Turtle Creek, 68%. North Braddock, 95%. Churchill, 87%. Braddock, 87%. East Pittsburgh, 70%. I miss. And at 100%, Wilkins Township, Rankin, Edgewood, and Braddock Hills. So just kudos not only to our students, but to the College Access Department. And I also believe the number keeps changing outside the wall of the Thomas G. Crone Auditorium. I think we're now up to $4.2 million in academic scholarships to a class of less than 300 students. So the number keeps climbing, and it's a record breaker. So thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. I guess our student speakers will be here next week, as they typically are, and presentations. Mr. Turner.
Julian Turner.
How you guys doing today?
Great.
My name is Julian Turner, a former student, now a parent of the district. So what I'm presenting today is I'm a board member for Turning Corners Youth Mentoring Association. We just opened up a new office right now on Wood Street in Wilkinsburg. What our organization does, we're a nonprofit, and we specializing in mentoring young men right now, hopefully opening up to women also, but mentoring young men in life skills, soft skills, and job readiness, to help young men that's in trouble situations, have been in trouble situations, or maybe even moving towards trouble situations to, change their mindset, change their outlook, change their activities, and even their abilities to help them find a new direction, a new path of positivity, and for the better. We want to make more success stories. We don't want no more kids falling by the wayside, being average or below. We want to make success stories out of all these kids. Quick rundown where we're at right now. Right now, like I said, we're on Wood Street in Wilkinsburg. We are mentoring 15 kids, 10 from Westinghouse, 3 from Penn Hills, and 2 from Still Valley. We meet 3 times a week, and within that, we put them through our curriculum to challenge them mentally to develop a different sight of what's going on in their personal life, what's going on socially, and then what decisions they need to make to advance down the path that they want. That's the one thing we started with, is like, where do you want to be? And then we came back to where they're at now. So our curriculum kind of pushes them down this path of positivity to help them change and make these decisions for themselves. So after some planning with my other board members and Mrs. Lentz, we decided that it would be a good idea to present this to the board and offer up our services and our time to the students of Woodland Hills, preferably those high school age students, kids coming into the high school, also kids in the high school, and troubled ones that are transitioning in and out of ranking, that are having those problems, those behavioral issues, those mental issues, and open up our abilities and our curriculum and what we provide to them to help also change those kids in our community too, and do what we do with what we're currently doing now, but in the school, and change some of the negativity that they have and turn it into positive and make those kids also success stories. So that's a just of what we do at Turning Corners.
We met with Julian and Mr. Davis, who's also involved with that, the other day, and I'm really excited. We're looking at, I think, 15 to 20 young men to start.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to maybe get that in gear in June in terms of sort of a kickoff to just do an initial meeting and then really start it in earnest with the coming school year. But I'm really proud of Julian because I've looked at the company and what they're doing. It's a great organization. The only criticism I have is we should have done this before. I'm glad we're doing it now, and thank you, Julian, for coming to us. And I'm hopefully we'll be able to build on this and expand it and get even more young men involved. So thank you.
Absolutely. One more other quick thing that we provide. For anybody listening, if you have children or if you guys want to be a part of it yourself, please reach out to me. And then we also provide, we teach them job readiness skills and kind of help them provide yourself a plan of what to do when that day comes when they have to leave that high school. Just from seeing the kids that after high school is done, we don't want you sitting around too long. It's not going to help any bit. But you guys have the brochure, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Turner, real quick, if you don't mind. Could we possibly put a link on our website to your website so people have to click on something? I know you just had an event on
the 29th. Yeah, it was our first
weekend of Spamalot. And I know you were raising funds. Is there a way to still contribute even though the event's already passed?
Absolutely. If you guys want to share the link, it's turningcorners.org for everyone here. But if you guys want to put the link up, we'd be more than willing to do that.
Onward.org.
Turningcorners.org. Yeah.
Definitely do it.
There's a donate button, but also there's definitely more information about us, what we do, and what we provide also. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Do you have any questions for us, or?
Everyone was good today.
You're sweet.
Thanks.
Thanks, Julian.
All right, thank you.
Okay. We can move on to registered speakers. Mr. Clanigan? Mr. Clanigan, as you can see, we have I don't know if you're aware of this, we have a nice long list of people who want to register to speak, and as you know, our policy is 2 minutes, so can I have a commitment from you to stick to that 2 minutes to allow everybody a chance to speak so we can get to our agenda?
Can't say I give you a commitment, but I will adhere to it as much as possible.
Thank you.
And I do not plan on going over.
Thank you. Oh, hold on, wait. Is it on? Okay.
Testing.
There we go.
I'd like to read statements from the, first of all, my name is Robert Clanigan, reside Carmy Avenue in Braddock, from the mission statement. Developing intellectual skills, interpersonal understanding, and respect for diversity. And some of the belief statements. Diversity is our strength. Students are motivated to learn when they can connect what they are learning to their that are learning to their lives. Students are motivated to learn when they can connect what they are learning to their lives and see how it will apply to their future. Effective schools promote understanding and appreciation of all people and cultures. This is part of your mission statement and belief statement. When Murray became principal, Woodland Hills mission statement, belief statement was not enhanced. When you voted him as head coach, you voted against Woodland Hills mission statement and belief statement. Your votes to put him as head coach was a vote to keep the hostile environment towards African American students and students in general. I've had 3 children come through Woodland Hills. Daughter, who is 24 now, she's a second lieutenant in the Air Force. She graduated from North Carolina A&T back in May 2015. I have a son who's 22, graduated from Teal College this past December, and a son who is in the Army Reserve. He's 21 years old and is on CCAC South baseball team. All 3 of them came up through Woodland Hills. My oldest son said to me last week, I didn't know all this was going on in Woodland Hills. I said, what do you mean? Why are you saying this? He said, because he had friends contact him on Facebook about situations they had with your current principal and head coach. Those of you who voted for him as head coach you just confirmed the environment that is going on with the recent situation that has occurred, and that student, the statement that he made to that student, you're just confirming what he said to that student by putting him as head coach.
Mr. Nanji? Mr. Nanji? Okay. Mrs. Boobin? Can you commit to 2 minutes, Mrs. Boobin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Members of the board, administrators present here tonight, and most importantly, my fellow Woodland Hills family. I'm asking you all tonight to listen and hear this message. We are all broken. Recently, I found myself alternating between anger and frustration, laughing and crying, embarrassment and heartache. Anger from the kids acting poorly at times, anger at the administrators for not doing more for the children, anger at the school staff for not being role models. Frustration from the neglectful and irresponsible spending on senior-level administrators' salaries with no additional responsibilities. Where is the value for the work they provide? Their counsel and strategy planning ability clearly has not been worth it. Where is the accountability? Laughing at some of the absurd quotes made by board members and administrators in the recent weeks to the news. Crying when watching our children being beat verbally, emotionally, and or physically by the very ones who were hired to be role models and mentors. Embarrassment to admit that I helped vote those responsible for poor decision making into office. And finally, heartache for all of those who have been let down, not only by the school, but by the citizens of Woodland Hills as well, for not fighting for them sooner. For this, I personally apologize, as yes, I am also guilty and have failed you. I am truly sorry and hope that you accept my apology. In the words of Benjamin Franklin, let us never mistake motion for action. It seems like the district leadership has been busy creating a lot of motion. The mass of people in the audience here tonight came to discuss, to voice our opposition, and yes, even to complain, all of which is equal to taking action. So I say, let's get some action going and make Woodland Hills great again.
That's right.
Ms. Reed? I have a commitment from you for 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Darnika Reed. I'm a parent. I'm also the education rights advocate and organizer for the Alliance for Police Accountability. First and foremost, we want the police out of the schools. And I'm going to say that again. We want the police out of the schools. Yes. They're not helping these children at all. We don't need to be concerned about body cameras. All of these incidents were recorded, and you guys did nothing about it. We can't rely on you guys to keep our children safe. You have already failed so many of them. That officer is dangerous, and you allowed him to continue to work in that building even after he knocked the child's teeth out. He even gave a 70-pound girl a concussion in your school, and you guys know about that. Right. Nothing good comes from these police being in the schools. And honestly, if you really care about these kids, if you really, really do care about these kids, you'll resign. Yes. You're irresponsible. Yes. It's disgusting. I work every day for a fraction of what you guys work for. A fraction of that. And I would never let a child fail. Never. I'm way more responsible than you guys, and you have more responsibilities than I do. I am so disgusted at you guys. It's just awful. Shame on
you. Amanda Brown.
Right about 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Might be slightly over, but promise less than 3.
Thank you.
Okay, I think it's pretty safe to say there are 2 elephants in this room. The first and the foremost is the safety of our students, and how are we going to guarantee that while they're at school? And the second one is the budget. And these 2 concerns really intersect with the proposal for bringing body cameras into our schools with our resource officers. And I'm not here to talk about the merit of that idea, but I'm here to talk about the burden of proof that is going to lay with you guys if you choose to move forward with such a policy. As Mr. Johnson has stated, this is going to be the first or one of the first policies of its kind, which means we'll be starting from scratch. It also means we must prove we've done our due diligence in creating a meaningful policy, not just for the sake of our kids, but for the sake of the kids in the districts that might adopt our policy in the future. It is imperative that you as board members work to keep us informed and that you're open to community suggestions when you're putting together this policy. We're going to need to know what's going to change. We have videotapes of incidents. We have audio tapes of incidents. And in fact, the incident that is being dealt with most harshly and most quickly is the incident for which there is no tape at all, and the person came forward willingly. So how is a body camera going to change that? We need to know what organizations, community leaders, and research are you looking at when you're building this policy. Body cameras are contentious and complicated, and that's without adding in the factor that in this situation, minors are going to be on the film more than anyone else. How are we going to protect them and their privacy and their safety? Some things that you need to consider is who is going to get to see the tapes and when are they going to be viewed, especially in relationship to incidents. Where are we going to archive them? How long are we going to archive them? If it's a requirement for officers to wear body cameras, what are the consequences going to be if they stop, obscure, or tamper with the footage? Because there will need to be consequences. How are you going to use this tape in regards to district employees who are not resource officers but are seen behaving inappropriately on the videos? And finally, you're going to need to show us that you considered other alternatives and that this was the best choice for our district. If we're going to spend the money, could we spend it better on enhanced training for de-escalation and safe restraint tactics, which are offered by many organizations in the Pittsburgh community? So this board must prove that not only are body cameras the best solution to our problem, but you're making a well thought out approach that is truly going to make our kids safer while they're in our schools.
Thank you. Mrs. Alfieri?
Jen Alfieri. I live at 204 Oakview. It'll definitely be definitely be less than 2 minutes because I haven't really had a chance to write a whole lot down. But I did just want to ask that after, at least tonight, that there could be some sort of communication with the public in general, just to come up with some sort of plan. I feel like at this point, the letter that was sent home probably resulted in more harm than good, that all of the high school students, at least, I don't know if everyone in the district got them, but the idea that I think it would have been helpful in that letter, and I understand there's 3 sides to every story and that investigations are still going on, but there was really nothing that was said in terms of what people saw on those videos should not have happened. And that we are looking at, we don't want any of our students to be treated like that. And again, I know that there's no audio, and so we have no idea what was being said, but regardless, having that kind of police force in and doing those types of things to any student should not be part of the educational process either. Okay, thank you.
Is Reverend Wingfield here yet?
He's right there.
Oh, okay.
Good evening to each one of you. As I stated to you previously, the Greater Braddock Ministerial Association, which I serve as president, will be a visible and vocal presence at these meetings. Various pastors will be present to monitor the proceedings of this board. We deem this as so important that we left our Wednesday evening Bible study to be here at this meeting. We remain disturbed over the developments within this district. Recently, the charges were brought against another employee, supposedly a behavioral specialist who happens to be African American. And while we do not condone these actions, it is disconcerting to us that the superintendent would clearly state that steps are being taken to terminate his employment with respect to this employee. Now, while a white administrator who clearly threatened in one instance and participated physically in another instance receives paid leave, reinstatement, and a promotion. It's obvious, ladies and gentlemen, there's a pattern here. And as I've stated to each one of you in an email, you cannot expect to lead a group of young athletes and ask them to act responsibly when you cannot control your own actions and emotions. It has been stated also that you can't base everything on a 30-second video. But let me remind you that Dr. Jeremiah Wright, a well-respected African-American clergyman, was vilified by this dominant culture over the words from a 30-second clip of his sermon. We call on this school board to do the right thing for all children of this district and do not compromise the integrity of this board for the sake of cronyism, and do not value a winning tradition over integrity. We're fighting even now. Thank you.
I think that's it.
No.
Louis Berry.
Louis Perry.
I'm sorry, my screen's not going down.
Yeah, Louis Perry.
Mr. Barry?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Louis Berry, and I'm a lifelong resident of Braddock and Rankin. I'm somewhat famous for being invited to the White House to meet with former President Obama to advocate for workers' rights. And I'm somewhat infamous for standing up to my employer, UPMC, demanding $15 an hour for all workers and winning. But the reason I'm here today is because, in light of the recent developments, it's become clear that the Afro-American taxpayers in this district cannot trust this administration and school board as it's presently constituted to do right by our African-American children. Yesterday's dismissal of Mr. Golden was a positive first step, but it only underscores and magnifies the need for Mr. Murray to be dismissed as well. He is not of the temperament and moral code we want for our children. That's right. Our organization, Concerned Citizens of Woodland Hills, demand that this board hear us and make a motion to remove Mr. Murray as head football coach and principal immediately. Somehow it's been lost on this board and administration that you work for us, the taxpaying people of this district, and not just the elite and special interests. That's right. You work for the people of Braddock and Rankin as well. Concerned citizens of Woodland Hill are also requesting to sit down with Superintendent Johnson and the members of this board, because it's time for this district to be more receptive to the ideas and aspirations of the whole district. Business as usual will not be good enough anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. If we can move on to Board Matters 2.1.
Action item 2.1, second reading of policy 707 on use of school facilities and equipment. Do you have any questions on that? Action item 2.2, approval of the ballot for Joshua Miller from the Wilkinsburg School District, Wilkinsburg School Director, to serve as the school board trustee for the Eastern Region for the Action Consortium. Any questions on that?
We'll have a ballot or something.
Ballot, right. There's a ballot that you'll have to sign.
Next week.
Right.
There it is. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Action item 3.1, we're moving into curriculum now. Is permission for Mr. Clausen to attend the PA Literacy Conference, Literacy for Life. This is under KTO, and all costs are covered by the grant.
Gotta go.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Action item 3.2, permission to create summer curriculum writing positions. This is for summer curriculum writing. This is to write curriculum over the summer for the fall. I'm sorry, I didn't say that very well. Any questions on that? That'll move to Section 6, Personnel, and request permission to accept and approve the superintendent's recommendation that the district terminate the contract of Rebecca Shuley in accordance with the attached adjudication effective May 17th. Any questions on that?
I got a question to read this. Did 13,000 transactions over 14 months.
I'm sorry, we allowed to speak.
I think we're going to have to go to executive.
We'll have to go to executive session.
It's the question about our operation, not about her. I'm just saying, she gets 1,000 transactions a month, right? That's 14,000 transactions for 14 months.
It's probably best if we talk about this in executive session.
No, I want people to understand what's going on. I don't want to. I want them to know what I'm talking about. I don't want to go back into the room. A question not pertaining about her. All right, we had a open here.
Okay, I think he has a general question about the operations of the business office.
Now,
right?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm looking at the PISA reports. I want to know. I have to take a look at what she didn't do. When you're doing the PISA report.
We're getting right into it.
No, here's the question about PISA report. I want to see how we file a PISA report. All right? That's what I'm saying. I talked to another district. I talked to ADP and seen about filing these report and why it can't be. I want to see how it's filed and why we can't do it in this school district, but other places can do it. All right, so I want to see.
We do it in this district. I mean, we do it. We've been doing them for years. We've always done them.
What I'm saying is, I talked to other people. I said, how difficult is it for anybody to file a PISA report? Right? They said their system has. They bring it up and I download it and send it to the state. All the figures are already in it. There's no other calculation involved. That's when I want to see what you're telling me they do and what we do here. Why? There's something wrong with our system. We can't do it like other people do it. That's my question. Right? That's why
I mean,
I take a look at this and see we can bring in.
You're doing because what you're asking me is to evaluate how somebody used the system, and that's exactly what Mr. Vogel has said we can't do.
No, that's what my question. I want to see what's wrong with our system.
There's nothing wrong with our system.
Well, that's when I'll find out. We'll take a look at it. We can bring ADP in. They'll show you what they do to file reports.
Well,
right? That's my concern.
You want to have that set up with the board?
We paid
up to the board.
$70,000 for a system here. Our post office. How much? What's the? How much part of it is for payroll?
Probably about $15,000.
$15,000. So if you could get somebody like ADP,
and for less than 100.
I'll tell you what. I'll bet.
In another district.
It's
costing us $120,000.
Wait. Let's make. You want to stay with Sam with that statement? You want to stay with Sam with that statement?
Because I work with ADP.
Well, I mean, are you asking to have?
I'll tell you what. If I can bring ADP in here, and I can't get it under $60,000, I'll resign. If I bring it in, you two to resign, right?
Well, I'm not arguing with Mr. I'm asking you want us to set up a demonstration with
that's
ADP?
Right. He's saying that $100,000.
If the board would like us to do that and you have the contact information, I'll do that. You have the right to ask that as a board member. And
we can do that.
If the board would like to see that, we'll be more than happy to set that up.
Yeah, then you'll see.
Does the board want to do that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to support Bob on that.
I mean, I don't know we need a motion. This isn't a voting session anyway.
Well, to add it to the agenda.
I want to add that to the agenda, or if you get
because I also want.
I think we have a consensus. If you'd like to see that,
their system has in here. I talked to the person.
If you give me the contact information, Mr. Tomasic, we'll make the contact.
$70,000 for somebody to get half price at another.
Okay.
Energy school district, right? 200 some school districts use that system. We can save at least $50,000. ABT, I think we could do it under $60,000.
We're going to do it.
Okay. Here's my other concern. If we have so many mistakes done, right, over what's happened over this year, we were never told each month about something going right in this payroll department. Now, my concern is, can somebody get paid more than it should be paid? Because nobody tells you when you get something more than what you were entitled to. Nobody comes forward, you overpaid me, right? So I don't know if some people here are being overpaid because we have no oversight. We don't know, what's going on in the back office. Now, when you do an audit, you go in and ask people. Did anybody oversight tell you to do it this way, which is not correct, right? So I don't know what you asked the people working back here, but I got a concern exactly what happened or who was the oversight doing this stuff. Well, I'll have more questions for you next week. All right.
Okay.
Can I ask just one question? In terms of PESER's reports that Mr. Tomasic referenced, aren't those done monthly?
Yeah.
So, right. I just want to know.
Yes.
So they've been getting done March, April, May.
They've been getting done.
Okay. See what I mean?
I asked the people, they said their system allows you to get all the information, download it, and you just send it over a PDF file up to Harrisburg.
Okay.
They said no other methods or changes you have to make. Their system allows you to just take it off and send it right up there. We couldn't do it here. That's why I'm concerned about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Action item 6.2, which is authorizations for retirements, resignations, and miscellaneous, and that tab's attached. Any questions on any of those?
It's Steve Bowden retirement.
Yes, that was the effective the end of the school year. No other questions. We'll move straight on to Section 10, Buildings and Grounds. Well, we have permission for the use of facilities by outside organizations for 16-17 and the 17-18 school year. If they have any questions on that.
Is Mr. Bowden here?
I don't believe he is.
Okay.
I think so.
I haven't seen him.
Okay.
All right. No questions on that? We'll go right to legal matters. 11.1, permission to approve student adjudication number 11. You should have gotten that in the mail, hopefully. Everybody got that? And also 11.2 then, permission to approve student adjudication number 12. Again, I would point out that's down from a little over 80 this time last year, I believe. So we've improved that pretty dramatically. School finance, action item 12.1, request ratification of the bill list for invoices paid after the April 19th legislative meeting. Any questions on the ratifications? All right, 12.2, request approval of the May bill list for May of 2017. Mr. Trask, any questions on that?
Yeah, I have one or two for the attorney. Pay a pilot program for Braddock Hills. Can I get a copy of what that's about?
What, sir?
A pilot program that you researched. Braddock Hills.
Yeah, I can give you, if it's up to the administration, or if I can give you a copy of their proposal. I'll talk to you in depth about it after the meeting.
Okay. All right. And you did some research or variance at Churchill, a couple of items. Why can't somebody here at this office down here do it without you going calling Churchill Burr about variances? Why can't somebody here get it done and tell you and give it to you?
Well, because I'm the lawyer. I mean,
I understand, but I can call up and get what you have to look at. I would say the time I'll pick
if
up.
I'm asked to do things,
I know somebody asked you to do it, but I want to save the cost. All right, somebody in the office should be able to call up Churchill and say, "We got a variance. We got to take a look at it." All right. Somebody asked you the question. I don't know who asked you the question about a variance. Why you had to answer the question?
Well, the reason
to do so.
The answer to this is that the Churchill's changing their ordinances, and the new ordinance has rather different language than the old ordinance. And we did go to the hearing without the attorneys. We did it on our own to save that cost. And as a result of that, there was a recommendation that we relook at what we're doing in light of the fact that there's going to be a new ordinance. And their solicitor said specifically, he said you should talk to your solicitor to have them review this new ordinance because it has an impact on what you want to do. And that made sense, and we didn't understand, so yes, we did.
If you got the ordinance and gave it to him, I can live with that.
That's what we did.
He's appeared like he made the phone call to get the ordinance.
Well, I'm sorry. No, I didn't physically give it to him. No, I'm sorry.
I'm saying that's my question.
I told Mr. Vogel, and he worked with the borough to get the copy of the ordinance.
Work here, they can drive up and pick it up.
Well, it's not published yet, so that's the problem. It's still under consideration, so it's not even part of their policy.
I understand.
Their ordinances yet.
You got an hour and a half or something like that, $200-some. I don't think we have to pay for that.
I'll take ownership and apologize, and we'll try to be more mindful of that. I understand your point, and it just seemed like the appropriate way to do it. But I understand what you're saying.
Other thing we got with special ed transportation costs, whatever. Can I get the research you did on it?
For which one?
Transportation claims about special ed transportation.
Special ed transportation claims.
Okay.
You did some research on that stuff, about 4 hours or something like that. I like to see that to make sure we get it in the file. So this questions keep coming up every year, and we have to go down to the law firm to keep getting answers. So I think we should have some manual, some file available. We don't have to always call them.
Right, so if the same problem comes up again, we know exactly how to handle it.
I like to see what's going on about that. And I asked, Mike's going to give me other invoices for the bill list before next Wednesday. All right.
Okay. Yeah,
we're going to begin attaching the
Reynolds and
Pierce invoices to your
invoices to you, so you can review them in detail.
How quickly can we get those to Mr. Tomasic so that he can pose questions to you before the meeting?
Hopefully tomorrow they'll be listed.
Before the meeting, before he has to vote.
Hopefully tomorrow they'll be listed.
That'd be great. Thank you, Mr. Filiati, Mr. Johnson. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Tomasic, or anyone else on 12.2? Okay, 12.3.
Request acceptance of the fund reports for April 2017. That's for informational purposes. Remember, that always lags a month behind. Any questions on that? 12.4 is to request approval of the investment reports for April 2017. And most of our investments are in the PSLAF. I can never quite pronounce that right. Accounts, but you can take a look at that. 12.5, request the acceptance of the student activity reports for April 2017. That's also lags a month, but you can review those for the student activities. Action item 12.6, request approval of budgetary transfers for May of 2017. We had too many clean sheets and not enough spick and spans. We had to do a transfer there. Action item 12.7, request the appointment of Valerie Shaver as treasurer. We have to have an appointed treasurer. So we're requesting that Valerie be appointed as the treasurer effective July 1st. Action item 12.8, request approval of the Forbes Road Career and Tech Center operating budget for the 2017-2018 school year. The operating budget is, as you can see, $6,362,458. Administrative budget's $304,000. Mike, do we have our share of that in there somewhere?
I have to find
Am I looking at it I'm too dumb to realize?
Yeah, I think it's 56.
Well, that's our share of the administrative budget. It's not our share of the operating budget.
The operating,
I guess it changes depending on enrollment. So it's
going to change depending on
sorry.
enrollment.
So our share of the administrative budget is $56,000. Our share of the operating budget will vary depending on our enrollments.
What he said true.
Okay. Any questions? Action item 12.9, request approval of the proposed final budget as a working budget for the 17-18 school year. This again is not. This is a working budget. We can still make changes to that prior to final adoption in June, and you can see that attached there. We may even make some changes between now and next week. We have succeeded. I think it's important that we know, public know, we succeeded in cutting out another almost $3 million from the budget.
From the preliminary.
So we have, from the preliminary, I think all told we've cut almost $6 million if you count everything we've done since the initial.
I wouldn't go that far yet.
All right, well, we've cut, yeah, I'm doing, whatever. We've cut quite a bit, and we've, we're still not quite meeting expenses with revenues, but we're closer clearly than we were. And we'll continue to look at that. And so anyway, that's that. Any questions on that budget?
I gave everybody a copy of the county tax relief program.
Yeah, the senior citizen tax relief.
They could look at that, see if we get passed. I don't know if ever get a thing from the county. Senior citizens in the county get a rebate from the county. So I wanted to we can do it.
You asked us to put a link to this on the website, didn't you?
No, I didn't do that. But I brought up before. What the state has a program, the county has a program. All right. I wanted to look at both of them, see what we can do for the senior citizens of Woodland Hills. All right. That's very important because they can't afford, all the problems, the costs we have. So we have to. County did it, the state did it. So Woodland Hills has to take a shot at it. So
you mean us coming up with our version of this program?
Yeah. It's easy because the county will do it, and all you have to piggyback with the county. Okay.
I misunderstood you, Mr. Knappsky. I'm sorry.
If I filed with the county, they okay it. Woodland Hills can accept what the county did and okay them too. Right?
Yeah. Well, I understand what you're asking now. I misunderstood before. I apologize. Mike and I will discuss it. I don't right off the top of my head. I'm certainly not able to say we can do it, but we'll discuss it. And we have finance committee again prior to adoption of the final budget.
23rd.
So we can go into that. 23rd or 30th.
No, the budget workshop's the 30th. Finance will be on the 23rd.
23rd. Sorry. Yeah. And we can talk about that in more depth. I think that's the appropriate venue is at the finance committee.
Absolutely.
But but thank you. And I apologize that I misunderstood what you were asking about earlier. Any other questions on that? If not, we'll move right on to the assistant superintendent. And Action item, that point one, be permission to approve Kathleen Graneman Coluccio as, and I hope I pronounced that right, Ms. Graneman, as independent contractor for the Swissville Library at a cost not to exceed $26,800. Kate's been our librarian at Swissville for a long time, since I've been here, and we're happy to have her. Any questions on that? And finally, in our assistant superintendent, we're requesting that the district approve our partnership with Turning Corners. I don't think there's no cost associated with that at this point. There may be. I don't have what that cost will be. So what we're really asking you for here in advance is permission to pursue that partnership with them. We'll make appropriate budgetary arrangements, and that's one of those areas where we're cutting the budget, but there are going to be some things that we have to put back, and I think this is one of them. We're in a position now where we've got to be prepared to make some investments in the community, and even though times are very difficult, we have to do that, and this is one of them, because I think one of the things we've been missing is mentoring. And we've talked a lot about it, and it's time to stop talking about it and do it. And that's what Mr. Turner and Mr. Davis are bringing to us. So this is really, in a sense, it's symbolic because I don't have a dollar figure attached to it, but it is, you're approving us to move forward with that partnership and bring that back to you at some point with a more specific proposal. Any questions about that? Moving on to the final section. Action item 14.1 is to approve the resignation agreement with Mr. Gerald Chessman, effective June 30th of 2017. We'll miss Mr. Chessman greatly, but he's decided to pursue some other interest, and that's great. Any questions on that?
Can I get a copy of that? I need a copy of this agreement.
It's on your executive content
down
there.
the office. I didn't see it down. Okay.
Yeah, it's there.
All right.
It's confidential, but it's there for you.
Okay.
And finally, action item 14.2, approval of a $1,000 grant award from Let's Move Pittsburgh for the intermediate school for the Healthy Living Through Mindful Gardening program. This is a program that supports their efforts to build some gardens at the intermediate school, and we just need to have you accept those funds. And if there's no questions on that, that's all I have, Ms. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Does anyone have anything under old business?
I got a quick question.
Mr. Belmont.
Al, would you take a minute going back to the adjudications under 11 legal matters? You indicate our adjudications are way down. Maybe the folks would like to hear how we got there and what we did, just briefly.
Well, I mean, we've been working very hard to bring down expulsions in the school district for a couple of years. The new code of conduct was a great deal of assistance with that. And although I obviously have to be very careful what I do because these are the most confidential things we deal with, but I think of those adjudications, only 2 or 3 of them have resulted in actual expulsions. Anybody know that? Does that sound right, Dawn? Most of them we've been able to mitigate in other kind of alternatives. I'm not happy that if it is 2 or 3, it should be 0.
I don't think it's
but it's a vast improvement from where we've been in the past, and our goal is to continue to get that to where there are none. Mostly it's been through some of the alternatives to suspension and alternatives to expulsion we have in place. Clearly, though, we need to do more, but we are doing some of those things. So that's how we got from, again, I think the number last year, if I'm not mistaken,
72, actually.
72. I'm sorry, I am senile. It was 72, and this year we'll finish up again around 12.
Yeah,
so that's a significant improvement, but not enough improvement.
Yeah, half the students that get expelled just entered the school district in one of first or second year. Half the students that got expelled.
Well, I mean, we do have a significant amount.
You're talking about the number of those students. How many of them have been here since kindergarten?
No, yeah, two years. One first, second, half of them one first or second year.
Well, because we have a high degree of transiency, but and that's one of the things we have to embrace. We have to not shirk away from that, and that's one thing I think where present circumstances certainly don't show that. But if you look back at what we've been doing and the work we've been doing with the Department of Human Services, and we've been a district that's actually been very come forward and said, we need to embrace those kids more because we have a lot of kids that get lost in the system being moved from one housing to a development from another. We actually went to the Housing Authority and asked if they could suspend evictions during testing so that we could keep those kids. And we've asked for some other considerations to try to give the kids in those, particularly in the public housing situations, a better shot at some stability and education. And those are all things that are good, but they're not good enough, and we need to do more with them.
I have a question about Wilkins School. Wilkins School, what's the report on that? We get revisits filed, or?
Well, I can't discuss that.
I know that, but I'm talking about what's going on in the building. I get all these talking to parents, and they tell them it's out of control, whatever.
It's not out of control, Mr. Tanasik. A couple of really challenging issues there.
Any teachers get assaulted, hurt over there?
You know what? That's going to take me into areas where I don't really think it's appropriate to go into public session. Wilkins is not out of control. We've had some difficult situations.
People out here I'm down Giant Eagle, different places. People are telling me this stuff. I come here. I'll bring you questions up here, and they want to hear the answer. That's why I have to get the answer to tell them. You can't answer it.
And that's one of those things. That's where schools are very easy targets because we deal with the community's most precious commodity, and because of that, we're not able to talk a lot about it.
I understand it. I get questions.
Well, you send them to me, sir. I'll talk to them.
I said, what's going on? They tell me what happened there. The teacher got hit, this, whatever. Did the teacher get hit?
Well, the oldest student.
I asked a question here. Did the teacher get hit? No answer. Okay.
Bob, how many
8 years old?
How many instances were you made aware of when you were talking to the?
About 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Is that job with the number we've?
It's over the last 6 months.
Let's
I would say more than that.
Well, and remember, there's about 400 students in Wilkins, 500 students in Wilkins.
Well, 500. Yeah. What the parents said, my child can't learn because the teachers has to chase the kids around half the period, right? You can't teach because you chase the kids around the room. Is that true or not? I don't know.
That's not true on a daily basis. That's not true. Does it happen? Do we have issues where kids become escalated? Absolutely. Does it sometimes?
Why am I sending my child to Wilkins? Because you can't teach because the other kids run around.
Well, you're making a really broad statement.
Really?
You're talking about 4 kids out of 500 over the course of a 180-day school year.
That's what parents say to me. Now, I asked the question that, okay, you could come back and say, no, it's maybe 1 or 2 years. Okay. I'll go back and I'll tell parents.
Do you don't mind me asking, when a parent stops you in Giant Eagle, which is interesting because Braddock Hills, that whole area feeds into Edgewood, but anyway, when people stop you, what do you say to them? I'm just curious.
Wait a minute. I scream at me down. What are you talking about? What am I talking about?
What do you say? What do you say in response to them? Do you walk away?
No,
what do you say to them?
I talk to everybody.
Why don't you?
And what do you say? Because let me just tell you what I do. When I get a phone call or I get an email from a concerned parent, I remind them of the appropriate chain of command. If you have an issue with what's going on in the classroom, talk to the teacher. And if you have an issue with a teacher, talk to the principal. If you have an issue with the principal, you call this man or Miss Lentz. And then if they tell you to pound salt, then you call the school board member. Because all I can do as a board member, all you can do, all any of us can do, is contact all those people who they should have called first. Because they're there every day. So I'm sorry, but when you say people stop you in Giant Eagle, it's kind of hard to believe that because why would they contact you and not contact the superintendent, not talk to the principal?
Let me say this.
Some of them even bypass all of that and just call Marty Griffin. So I'm just wondering why wouldn't you direct them to call the superintendent?
My work, all right, I've been an auditor for years.
Right.
Talk to me, give me information. Now, if I told it,
please.
If I turned into people everything I was told, I would never have people talk to me about what's going on. I'm involved with a lot of fraud cases. People went to jail, whatever. People gave me information confidential. They didn't want anybody to know they gave me the information. And if I turn your name in, nobody's ever going to talk to me again. All right? And give me inside information.
I would just like to be able to
All
say
right.
this to Mr. Massey. There's some kids at Wilkins and in all our schools that have tragic circumstances that if we had to face them as adults, we wouldn't be able to deal with them. And I know the audience here might not believe me, but it's one of the things about Woodland Hills that I admire is the resilience of the kids in our community and how they're able to bounce back. And yeah, there are some kids that come to school in a place like Wilkins with having dealt with problems that none of us could even comprehend. And has that happened now? Yeah. We're trying to help them. What we don't want to do is turn them away and not allow them to have access to education. Sometimes that does make a challenge to keep it going for the rest of the kids in a classroom, and it is difficult. But Wilkins is not a school that's out of control. You can walk over there. You're a board member. You want to come over to Wilkins? You can come over. I'll go with you personally. You can walk through the building and see yourself. There are kids with challenges. We're working at that. We need to do. We're going to keep working, but it's not a building that's out of control.
Well, you're saying that people watch on TV, they'll take their statements, and next time I see them,
Hopefully they will.
Wait a minute, that's all.
Hopefully they will do that.
Why? Rather, because people watch, they don't come to the meeting, they watch it on TV. I ask a question, they got the reply. Now they'll look at it and then tell me who's true. Was that my question right, or was answered or not? All right, that's what we'll find out.
No, one more thing, Mr. Tomasic. If I had, and I have two children at the junior senior high school, if I had a young child, a 5, 6, 7, or 8-year-old at a primary building, and they're coming home with stories about my teacher can't teach, and someone did this, and someone hit that, and I'm the parent, I wouldn't be real worried about keeping it quiet and you not revealing their name. I would be making the phone call saying, I'm Mrs. Reese, this is what's going on in my child's building, what are you going to do about it? So the fact that people aren't even doing that and they're just telling you at the grocery store, it's kind of hard to fathom that that's all they're doing, but they say that their child's in an out-of-control building.
No, I ran 7 times, 8 times to be school director, right? 8 elections here, right? But
yeah.
people voted for me because I asked a question they want me to answer. All right?
I get that, but I would be asking if I were a parent.
I ran against all you people
asking.
before. I was a top vote getter because I do it my way, not the way you want me to do it.
It's like I said.
Once again, let me answer the question. There are some kids with some really serious challenges at Wilkins, and we're trying to help them, but the building is not out of control. And I think that's the simplest way. Best answer.
Yeah, they'll hear it. That's good enough.
So,
is there anything else under old business? New business? Okay, reports. Don't forget, after next week's meeting, we will have our committee meetings on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 23rd and 24th, starting at 5 o'clock here. But as previously stated, the finance meeting will start at 6 on the 23rd, and that's a week before our budget workshop on the 30th at 6 o'clock at the high school library. Does anybody else have anything else under reports? If I could, Dr. Vereen, can I announce this? Yes. Okay, great. We have a really exciting event coming up. It's the Woodland Hills Cares Open House and Family Resource Fair. It's going to be right here in this building on Wednesday, May 24th, from noon to 7, and it's jam-packed full of great stuff. Families are going to be able to connect with resources available from Allegheny Family Network, the United Way, Heritage Community Initiatives, the Braddock Carnegie Library, and there'll be breakout sessions including Women for a Healthy Environment, the Battle for Healthy Water in Pittsburgh, that's from 1:30 to 5, the Pittsburgh Gymnastics Club, the Pittsburgh Association for the Education of Young Children, Circles of Mon Valley Building Community and Poverty, and if you're really feeling energized, there will be a workout with ATU, our own athletic trauma unit of Chris Edmonds, at noon right here. There's going to be a demonstration at 6 p.m. Is that the Pittsburgh Gymnastics Club, Dr. Vereen? Yes. Okay. Storytelling for Advocacy at 2 p.m. Poverty in our neighborhoods discussed at 3:30 p.m. The ATU food truck will be here. There'll be kindergarten registration, raffles, children's fun station, voter registration, and a Reading is Fundamental RIF book giveaway. And infants will receive an official Woodland Hills Cares package. So there's a lot going on 2 weeks from today, the 24th, from noon to 7, right here in this building. So please stop by and bring your families. Public comments? Anyone wish to speak? Ms. Anisi, can you make a commitment to 2 minutes?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hopefully, unless you have something to say back to me.
No.
Actually, I'm back. I'm just following up on the unsolicited offer I put in. Superintendent Johnson, I want to thank you very much for your communication. But I'm following up to it because my attorney, Al Caruso, put an email into you, Mr. Vogel, a week ago, and he's had no response. So I wanted to see where your communication was, Superintendent Johnson, to Mrs. Reese and Mr. Vogel. Just to share with you, I'm really on a time frame here because I need to refinance my house, and if this is going to happen, I have to finance both in order to do the new site map of, I forget the word, blending them together. But anyway, I also have been working on estimates with the hopefulness of this being moved forward and ratified. So where we're at right now is I want to know, where's the board at? Have you had any more conversation? Mr. Caruso and myself are expecting a sales agreement from you, Mr. Vogel, so that it has the approach. One moment, please. Let me just finish my statement. Thank you. That's fine. I just wanted to, and the reason we looked to you originally, I was going to ask Mr. Caruso to do it, but he felt it was more appropriate so that you had all the proper language that you required in it. So I'm just here for my update so I can have some communication. Thank you.
I talked to my partner, Matt Hoffman, who usually knows a lot of the real estate things. I've told him there was something within the district where we had a concern about getting vehicles to the back of the school, which wasn't cleared up for a little bit of time, because that way we just wanted to make sure that we were able to, that wouldn't be a safety issue involved in this. So, but what I've talked to my partner, Matt, and I will instruct him again to talk to Mr. Caruso immediately to get moving on this.
Yeah, that was cleared up at the beginning of the month. And just to let you all know, because I also talked to Julie, the borough manager, as well as the fire chief, and I'm sure they probably shared with you, you have more of an issue down on your property with the wall and the fence with the fire engine getting past than not. So I think this is all positive. I think it'd be all simple. And I just ask that if I know you have a lot going on, and I'm sympathetic to that, but I would really just appreciate, time is of the essence, and if we can move forward quickly, I would greatly appreciate it.
Understood.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment?
Good evening.
Can you reset the clock? I'm sorry, Mr. Flanagan. Can you reset the clock, Mr. Gigliotti? Thank you.
Robert Flanagan, Camp Avenue, Braddock. Over the years, I've seen administrators be removed from buildings simply because they did not get along with teachers or administrators, or the students would seek them out in various situations because they knew they would get treated fair or be heard, such as past administrators, Dr. Marilyn Barnett, Ms. Kate Brown, Dr. Hickman, who did not receive a second, third, or fourth chance, as the superintendent stated in the press release concerning Mr. Murray coming back to the district. Now I find out Ms. Golden is no longer a principal. I can only speculate either the students favored her or her ideas of fairness collided with the high school administration, a.k.a. Murray. One last thing. How did Murray get certified to be principal? Take that as rhetorical.
Anyone else under public comment? Do I have a motion to, are you speaking?
Yes, ma'am, very briefly.
Okay. Can you just give your name and address, please?
Sure. I'm from neighboring Pittsburgh. I'll put that out. My name is Meira Ress. My address is 2723 Mount Royal Road. I'm just here very briefly to address the question that you had raised, which was why would parents approach this other board member when they could very easily and should be following the chain of command. So if one of your children were to do that, were to tell you something like that you would immediately go to the teacher. Ma'am, I have a child as well, and the reason why I would do what you would do is because you and I look the way we do, and we have the privilege of being able to go through the chain of command without feeling like we wouldn't be listened to, and that is that. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? See you next week.
Do everyone.